All right, Dave, we're continuing our East County Prep Football series with the two-time defending, if you will, Grossmont Valley League champion Monte Vista Monarchs. One thing's for sure, Dave, after this shortened season, the Monarchs are still going to be the champs, but just so excited. Seems like more great news every day coming down the pike, and great to be joined by these guys right here, seniors from those defending champion Monarchs. LaMonte Jenkins, Jesse Schroeder, and Adrian Ortiz. And, of course, in between us, Dave, a guy who, well, I think I've figured out his formula by now. Just put a game plan around guys with a certain skill set, sell them on going hard in the classroom, on the field, and in the weight room, and just become a Hall of Fame all-time winningest active coach, Ron Hamamoto, Dave.
That's you know what? I was just going to go with legendary from the Grossmont Conference. In many years, he's been with us, and people forget, he did some time up in the North County for a while there, but done fantastic things down here in the East County and, really put Monte Vista on the map as far as football is concerned. I don't know the exact record. You might have that, Ramon, but I know that he is, like you said, one of the winningest coaches in the Valley League. But it's just good. Like I told the gentleman earlier, it's just good to have you guys on to be able to have a season. It may be 6 games, it may be 5 games with the scrimmage. However we look at it, at least we're able to get on the field and play football, and in March, no less. And I'm sure you guys especially can appreciate it more than anything. How about the weather as opposed to August? I'm sure you didn't mind skipping that excessive heat that we typically get at the beginning of the season when we're practicing. I'm sure you appreciate this nice spring weather.
Coach, start us off. It was perfect out there today.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when you look at we were talking about it the other day, with the kids, in August and September, man, it's hot out there, especially with that turf. And, and now we have to share the field with soccer and lacrosse and track and everybody else. And so they're going through 2-hour practices instead of 3-hour practice. And it's about 20 degrees cooler.
Hey, Adrian, even though we're a little bit lax on some of the weather conditions, is better than in August. I bet you'd prefer it take those hot days to get a full regular season in. But how excited are you guys to get rolling here? Just this is really the last Friday without any real football. But man, what's it like right now? Just getting out there, getting ready.
Man, it's great. It's a really big honor being able to play again. Like a few months ago, we were pretty much thinking, wow, we're not gonna have a season at all. But now it's wow, we're actually gonna get out there and play against some other people this time. Yeah.
Lamont, how quick? I mean, talk about not really much notice. I mean, who was the first phone call that you received that you better hightail it to the field and get ready, Who gave you the phone call?
It was Lake Erie, University of Lake Erie. Yeah, they said, "Oh, we're gonna offer you," and then I was like, "That's when I woke up. I was like, whoa, okay, no, this is real. I really gotta get going."
And then
yeah, I mean that's a great point, Dave. Great point, Dave, about how it all ties in right now with still trying to work on these opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and I think. I can't stress it enough. I mean, the seniors, you guys want to just enjoy your last few games as seniors, and at least you're getting some football in. And for the juniors, it's really crucial for the juniors that they get some looks and that they're going to have the availability now, and they are going to actually have people there. And there's going to be footage available. I think that's key to their future. And you guys can speak on that it really was ripped out from underneath you. I mean, you still get some looks, you still get scouts calling you up, but it just doesn't seem as wide open as we would normally have, where you'd get 10 to 15, we're down to 5, and then you got to pretty much I got to take what I can get. A lot of players have been doing that, which that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that it was a shame what you guys had to go through especially after a championship season last year. You want to talk on that, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, without really having that off season, you see that somewhat decline within the players, and then same thing in the numbers, with how it affected everyone. But now that we're back, I just see it being just a great experience for everyone. At least, should this thing continue, we're at least somewhat more prepared for it now for next seasons coming up for all sorts of different sports.
Great point. We haven't really heard any student athlete, Dave, so far commentate in that nature, understanding that we still have challenges ahead of us as the desperate part of the pandemic kind of winds down. I mean, there are all sorts of protocols that we're finding out more and more each day what we're going to need to go through to proceed with the season. But Coach, I'm sure you don't have any problem selling these guys on the 6-game season. They all understand not just the surroundings of the circumstances with the pandemic. We all just feel fortunate to be able to start to do what we all do again, whether it be cover a football game, go to school, play football, go down to a restaurant and have dinner. So they know that this is still just a once-in-a-lifetime situation, and we still get to play these games. And getting this news every day, Coach, about how the other sports are going to follow through, I'm sure just excitement abounds, especially getting these kids back on campus a little bit.
Yeah. We went to level 3 this week, meaning that we're on campus twice a week instead of once a week as far as the student body, and it's exciting to be practicing again, especially for the seniors. I'm so happy that they're going to have a season. I know that they've been working hard for 14 months instead of just a couple summer months now, and so it's really a special thing, because even just 5 games, I mean, it's really going to be special for them. And and like you said, the weather's there. There's a lot of positive things out there, and it's different for us. We're wearing masks, we're social distancing, we're trying to stay away from contact in practice, a lot of different things. But I think they'll really appreciate it once Friday night comes.
And I guess I'll throw this at Adrian. Adrian, as Coach mentioned, 14 months of working out and conditioning yourself, keeping yourself in shape. I've talked to a lot of the Grossmont Conference players, and did you do the same outside of, let's just say, Monte Vista? Maybe a couple of teammates, or even players from other squads. Did you get together with anybody and do some conditioning yourself when the pandemic first began, just to keep yourself sane, number one, and then at the same time keeping yourself physically fit and ready to go at any moment?
Yeah, at the beginning it was like motivating to like keep in shape and like keep my strength up, because I had hope that we were gonna play again. But as the delays kept coming in, it kind of brought my hopes down. But I just didn't let me bring me down too much, and just kept going at it, because I knew I had a feeling, hoping that we would have a season at least sometime soon. Doesn't matter if it was a full season or 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, and Lamonte, Dave and I have talked to some of the athletes, like you said, and one thing the athletes have kind of been saying, not only in the high school level, but others that weren't able to play for a while, is that they were in the best shape of their young careers. I mean, I find it hard to believe, because I can barely walk out to get the mail right now after all these months of not doing very much. Do you think it's the case, though? Do you think the kids were staying in shape for the most part, or do you think there were some that did, maybe some that didn't? Lamonte?
Oh, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I feel I feel like kids should have been like preparing because I've never stopped personally. Like I worked out with we had a senior last year, Sebastian Valdez. Like soon as the pandemic happened, I was working out with him like on fundamental things and because he was getting ready to go to college to go to Montana, and we were just like getting ready, and then he left, and then I started going to Jesse's house, and then we just worked out together. His dad's like he's been like a great influencer, and we just been working out, and I feel like some kids have been affected by it. We got some guys coming back after all these months, think they could just hop on the field without no conditioning and over here throwing up and all that bad stuff. But it's a work in progress right now. So
Yeah, David, everybody's, going to be hitting the weight room. We know that, that's part of the regimen in training, but the Monarchs, I don't know. I'm not saying that they take it more seriously than some of the other schools, but I think that the way Coach Hamamoto runs the system down there and the way they execute their offense and defense, mostly the offense is what I'm getting at, but weight training is very important and all that. So,
Coach, I wanted to, we'll get to talking about the other players and the roster and such, but I think it gets overlooked often. I just wanted to see if you could kind of give us a little bit of background of your staff this year and what they're going to bring to the table and who's coming back, and if there's anybody new on the staff that stands out to you.
Well, we've always believed in quality over quantity. If you look at our staff, we have 6 other guys besides me. We have a total of 7, and that's in the whole program. There's a lot of staffs that have 20 people, and but I've been on those staffs before, and there's a lot of people standing around. And obviously Coach Culver, who was the head coach at Monte Vista before me, and he's the PE department chair there. He does a lot. I mean, he is a coordinator. He coaches one side of the ball, whichever side I don't coach, he coaches, and he really does care about the kids, as far as looking after their grades and getting on them and going to counselors and seeing what they can do and reminding them about tests. And he's just been a great help. But everybody else too there, we really do. We have a solid staff. We have a couple young guys, Ernie Banta and Brian Walzer, that are new this year. But I've had my freshman coach Levi Miller for a long time, and Bobby Ursulo, and Miles Lickenberg, is a young coach that used to play at Monte Vista, and he's now the head JV coach. And they're just all doing a great job, and I put a lot of responsibility on them because there is only 6 of us out there. And so, but I've always felt that instead of having guys stand around or be part-time guys, I mean, our guys really get into it and coach and have responsibilities. And I think the older I get, the more I dish out with responsibilities because it's the older you get, it's even hard walking up that hill after practice. I mean, I don't have the energy that I had once I was young.
Yeah, well, we would have liked an opportunity to carry off on their shoulders one more time for these seniors. Also, Coach Culver was publicly recognized just in the past week or two. I don't know if it was a school award or a district award.
Yeah, it was. It was employee of the. I think it was employee of the month.
Nice.
And yeah,
Employee of the
well
month.
deserved. Yeah.
Employee of the decade.
Hey, he's always my great. If there's one guy I can depend on in the Grossmont Conference to get some film over, even if we can't make it to the game. He's always fantastic about emailing me, and he's right on time too. I mean, if he doesn't do it that night, he'll do it the next morning, early in the morning. And I mean, I got to tell him, that how much I appreciate it, that he's so diligent on getting that to us and getting that to the press. And he's always been so good about that and getting us what we need when you're busy doing your stuff, and you got plenty to do, Coach. So
Well, it's not that I'm busy. It's just that he's a lot better at technology than I am. I mean, I'm really inept with technology. So he does our huddle. He signs up all the kids. I mean, you look at our fundraiser that we're doing right now, that letter that you guys are going to post, with all the links and all the QVR and everything else. I mean, he did all that. I mean, I can't do all that. I mean, we're, talking about this is a fundraiser that we're going to talk about, that we're really trying to hit social media, and old guy like me has no idea what social media is and what the kids are doing nowadays. And so it's really nice to have Coach Culver and some of our other younger coaches help us out with this.
Coach, can you say a few words on that in reference, since we have it up there, and what these folks should do?
Yeah, a lot of coaches, across the county are worried about fundraising, and because a lot of games are going to be played either in empty stadiums or very few fans, and that's going to affect the budget of a lot of teams across the county. Well, we have this fundraiser going right now where we might make more money than we've ever made before, in a fundraiser. Basically what it is, it's really a long story, but to keep it short, Bert Esposito, the head coach at Temecula Valley, is also the president of the Southern California Football Coaches Association. And I've been a member of that organization for almost 40 years now. I think it's a really good organization. And he emailed me in November and said, hey, there's a great fundraiser. You don't have to sell anything. You don't have to ask for money. All you have to do is get people to fill out surveys, and you get paid for surveys. So you have to be kind of good at social media. And I said, okay, let's try it, because he made, I think, $17,000 just in 1 month. And he told me he didn't even have all of his players because of COVID in November. So we're trying that right now. There's a group called Ambassadors of Compassion, which do, a lot of youth groups and life lessons, and they've partnered up with Express Feedback for Good. And Express Feedback pays youth groups, for surveys. Basically what they do is they help businesses out. They get surveys and they collect information, and, they pay us $2 for every survey we get. Our AOC gets it, and they give us 40% or 80 cents a survey. So in other words, it's just a numbers game. I'm getting out the word as much as I can to everybody. For example, Ed Carberry used to be the head coach at Monte Vista. Gary Watkins, the head coach at Mesa, used to be, a player at Monte Vista. We've reached out to both the community college football programs there, and they're helping us out. And we're just getting our faculty, our administration, everybody's helping us out. And we've hit up some social media influencers. We have Elima McFarlane, a Belfour MMA champion with a lot of followers, and she's trying to get people to do this. And basically all you do is sign up on our link, okay, and then they will send you, ask you, do you want to, have the survey sent to you by text or email or both, and most people say text so they can, just do it on their phone while they're watching TV or whatever. And bottom line is as many surveys as we can do in 30 days, they're going to pay us 80 cents. And right now, we were the last team in California to be accepted by this group because I guess they're really popular. And Warren High School in Downey, California, is the leading school in California. They just raised $53,000 doing this fundraiser. And I told everybody that we're going to beat them. I think that's kind of me popping off, and I shouldn't do that. But I'm trying to motivate our kids, our parents, our faculty, our administration, everybody. It's really like one of those old chain letters. If I tell you, hey, fill out a survey and we get, 80 cents, and you could do 50 surveys as a max. You can't do more than that. But if you did all 50, we would get $40. And so if I did 50 surveys and I told you about it and you did it, we would get $40 from me, $40 from you, and then you told 2 more people, then we get $80. And you can see how this thing, and that's why, really what I'm doing is I'm asking all the coaches that I know and, about social media influencers, because at my age, I really don't know what those are. But, anybody with a bunch of followers that can get them to sign up for this, we could end up making a lot of money. I've never seen, something like this before, where it's a fundraiser where you don't have to ask for money. You don't have to sell anything. You don't have to say, hey, can you buy this or whatever. You just, what kids and, young adults really like right now is social media. And it's just a survey that lasts a minute, and it's usually you just push some emojis and, all of a sudden we get paid 80 cents. So we are trying to hit up as many people as we know and beat those guys in LA. I tell them, if you ever went to a Padre game, against the Dodgers, everybody's yelling, beat LA. Well, that's kind of our motive right now is, we're going to beat that high school team in LA. They raised 53,000 and we're trying to raise more than that.
Well, we'll put the link in the bottom of the YouTube video. We'll also stick the link for Coach. He could go in there and put the link in himself in Facebook, but we'll do it for him. And,
hey, thank you.
Even though we'll probably get a good response and we'll get out there and raise a bunch of money, guys, I bet we could get more money if we get Coach Ham on the gram, and that would generate a lot of publicity. By the end of the year, maybe we'll have him on in his hat on Instagram fundraising for next season, because it's going to be just around the corner. But Coach, you mentioned 5 games, so I looked at some schedules. I don't know if you can tell us any confirmed games, but does that mean you will not have a game next Friday?
Yeah, we're going to scrimmage Point Loma,
Okay.
and then after that, then we'll have 5 Grossmont Valley League games.
Okay.
Now, are you going to have are you going to have Point Loma at your house, or
we're going there?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's just a scrimmage, but it's interesting contrast of styles with Coach Allen and Coach Hamamoto. I think interesting, fun scrimmage, but it doesn't. I'm sure it'll feel like a game when you're out there, especially.
Well, we scrimmaged him last year when he was at Bishop's, so he lives right down in the same neighborhood as me down here in in Bay Park. So we know each other. So, and he's good friend. He played for Coach Culver when Coach Culver was coaching at Christian. So there's a connection there. We know him real well.
Yeah, it's funny how it all comes around full circle. These guys are pretty good coaches, Jesse, but what kind of influence do these coaches have on you, not only as a player, but moving forward in the rest of your life? Give Jesse a second, we'll catch up. I'm hoping it'll catch up, Jesse. Yeah. Well, Lamonte, help me out. Tell me about these coaches not only influencing you as a player, but as a man.
These coaches, man, these are some great coaches. I wouldn't want to play for anybody else. Like, these coaches, they've done so much, not just for me, but like all our teammates. They've like grown me as a person, grown me physically. Like, our weight program is just amazing. Like, I love lifting. Like, that's my favorite thing to do. And, they push me every day to become, a better person, a better running back, better linebacker, and, I just can't wait for the season to roll on.
We were talking about it earlier backstage, Monte. The departure of one of the biggest firecrackers on the defense. Although he was, like we talked about, he was a smaller guy, but he definitely brought, as you guys said, comedy, but he also brought some fierce competition to the table. as far as I'm talking about Logan Schmidt. And I mean, I just like to know your thoughts again on that, and able to play with a guy like that, and what you picked up from him, especially playing linebacker yourself.
Yeah, I just learned that he was very competitive. When we were in the weight room, oh yeah, he's always trying to one up me, or he's very competitive. He's a funny guy. He's a very good leader. He was a very good leader to me. He's impacted me as a leader. He made me want to get on my guys. Sometimes I'll text him, or hey, like, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And he influenced me a lot. Yeah, him Sebastian Valdez influenced me quite a bit.
It's kind of funny, Lamonte, that how many of them ended up at Montana. I mean, it just seems like Monte Vista is the go-to place once you guys are done there is Montana. I mean, is there anybody else thinking about heading over there?
Maybe.
Yeah,
you might see a couple more of them. Couple guys, pictures on this up above me right here. They might be going.
I'm excited to see some of those. We got some great games this week. I don't think they're in action yet. They might be in a week or two. I think some of those Big Sky teams are getting ready to roll, but kind of gives us still a little bit of high school on Friday and still a little bit of college on Saturday, and college that a lot of these kids at our level can relate to a little bit when we get those FCS games. So, Coach, then I think we know the schedule: Valhalla, West Hills, Braves, El Cap, Mount Miguel. But Dave, I don't know. I'm starting to look around. Of course, we're a little bit behind getting all the information. We're going to ask about some players. Maybe we can ask Adrian, Jesse, and Lamonte to name some of their teammates. But I just want to mention this, Dave, because I know how much you despise any poll, whether it's computer generated, if I make it up myself or what. But I was just glancing at the Max Preps, and it said it was updated on February 28th. So I guess there's some type of numerical formula that's being entered in if they're making it available. And Dave, in that Monte Vista was ranked. This is the defending two-time champions of the Valley League with a long league winning streak. Behind in those Max Prep polls, Dave, Mount Miguel, Valhalla, Santana, El Cap. These guys don't have to comment at all. I'll just say it. It's wrong. I don't care how much turnover is at Monte Vista. I don't care if Coach has 19 players out there. I don't think that Monte Vista is ranked behind those teams, Dave.
And that is exactly why I don't like those polls. I never have, and I never will. I don't know if my dad was a fan of them either, but to me, it's show me what you got this year. All those formulas, you guys, they can sit there and figure those out all day long, but I go by what have you done lately on the field. That's exact, and I'm sure Coach can agree and attest to that for sure.
Oh, you don't look at those. You don't look at those numbers.
They're just nonsense.
It's really tough, in this short season because number one, nobody really knows until we start playing how many seniors are sitting out because they already have scholarships, how many seniors are just saying, you know what, this isn't for me, I'm getting ready for college. And, you just don't know. And how many families are just saying, hey, it's not safe with this COVID stuff out there. I don't care how much my son says that he's not playing, till next year. And there's a lot of things going on right now that it just isn't a normal year. So, I mean, you got to be really brave to put out a poll right now because there's a lot of unknown out there. I mean, you just don't know until you start playing.
Jesse, we let's look at this year too. And I've talked to quite a few other squads, and they all seem to agree, and that's that this could go down as probably one of the most spectacular seasons, although shortened, that we've ever had in American football history. I mean, at the high school level, because it's been anticipated for so long and put off for so long. 6 games, 5 games, we're playing football, so I think that, really, if we end up getting more than the 4 tickets per player and they open it up a little more, I think we could see fans or on the fence or outside in the parking lot, watching a lot of these games. I think the attendance will go up. Whether it's inside the stadium is questionable, but I think we will have more people interested in high school football than ever before. Jesse? And I'll throw it over to Adrian.
No, he's got it. He's got it.
Oh, wait. Adrian?
Darn. Yeah. No, I'll type it in. Go ahead. Go ahead, Adrian. Help me out.
Oh yeah, so yeah, obviously this season is like super anticipated. Like there's squads all over the county, all over San Diego, in the state, like anticipating this season because obviously for many of the athletes it's their senior season, so everybody just wants to go out there, play their hearts out. So yeah, I actually think like all that anticipation and just everything everyone's been holding inside, just waiting to like go make contact with a different team. I'm pretty sure it's gonna bring a lot of attention from like everyone, like not just only like parents and all that. It's gonna bring the whole community together. Just like watch what happens.
It's even gonna bring us older media guys out of the woodworks. I mean, we really are just as excited. I mean, you know what, Adrian, the mental for you guys is at the age that you are right now, having to live through a pandemic like this, and just tell me how much more positive everybody around you is now as opposed to they probably were maybe 6 to 8 months ago. I mean, it's just, you talk to anybody, even walking down the street, people are, it's just so many more positives going on, but especially with youth athletics. And then we heard it, I think it was yesterday, the Scripps Ranch head coach also announcing that indoor sports would be played as well across the state. So, Adrian, I mean, what do you say to that? It's just, it was unimaginable for a while.
Yeah, like when the numbers were spiking on the COVID cases and all that, like it was obviously like how to put this into words. It's like I don't want to say like people were like depressed, but like they were more down on themselves. Just the fact that for a lot of these athletes, it's like their source of, I wouldn't say their source of happiness, but it sparks that happiness in them. And just the fact that they couldn't play the sport that they love, it just made them feel like empty inside. But now the fact that they confirmed the season, it's bringing the joy back in everybody. You see people more like with full of joy and happiness out in the streets.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I was talking to Sabrina Jimenez, the girls basketball coach over there at Monte Vista too, and they're excited. They're ecstatic that they're going to be able to go inside and play their thing now, and they'll have the same thing going on, Coach. They'll be fighting the volleyball team for the gym. Fighting, I mean, not really necessarily fighting, but it's going to be tough to, they're going to have to really have quite a few staff meetings on the scheduling, and I'm sure you've had a ton of those along with the COVID protocols and whatnot.
Well, I think you have to be really organized because you have to get, like I said, we're used to doing 3 hours and now we have to do everything in 2 hours. So a lot of times when I, teach my special situations, whether it's special teams or offense or defense or whatever, it has to be cut down. It has to be, the brief, method where, you just can't get long-winded out there. You just have to say it, you cover it once, and then you move on, and it's tough. Yeah.
Coach, getting the personnel, I want us to talk about some of the players in just a second, but if you could just say a word on some of your cohorts, guys you probably know pretty well, Coach Gladnick and Coach Gardenera, the job that they did. I think a lot is made about the efforts of the Let Them Play movement. I don't want to be controversial in my comments. I mean, getting back to what we're doing has as much to do with this incredible drop in the case rate and the overall health of society. But you can't help but think that you needed just a little bit of push to make sure we got started at the right time. Time was running out quickly.
Correct. Yeah, because they kept telling us that April 17th was the deadline so that we could start 30 or 90 days from April 17th to make sure that we had a legal starting date in July for the next season. So it was, I tip my hat to those coaches that, did all that. I mean, that was a lot of work and it was a lot of legal stuff, and and Gladnick flew all the way up to Sacramento and, met with all those coaches and so, it is. They sacrificed a lot of their time, and effort and money, so that the rest of us could play. So yeah, we're very appreciative.
Hey, Dave, we know maybe Coach can tell us about some of his numbers. You mentioned some of the players, I'm sure many of the programs lost a few players for some of the things that he said, whether or not, they just want to move on and stop playing football or health concerns or whatever. So maybe I'll ask these guys, start with Lamonte. We know that a lot of Monarchs go both ways, Lamonte. I think all three of you probably have duties on both sides of the ball or special teams. Lamonte, can you name for me a couple of guys on the Monarchs that aren't on this screen that play both ways, their first name, their last name, and at least one of the positions that they play your teammates, Lamonte, that you want to shout out?
I'll start with Paul Cooper. He plays DB and wide receiver. I'm gonna go Aiden Roby. He plays safety, and he's also my backup on running back. And who should I go? Craig Cooper, related to Paul Cooper, the brothers. Yeah, he plays DN, outside linebacker, and tight end for us as well.
Okay, you got three of them now. That narrows the field a little bit. Adrian, are there any other guys that are two ways, or maybe just some of your teammates that you have? You're a lineman, so you got guys next to you on both sides of the ball in the stance.
Oh yeah, obviously. One of them is Vincent Padilla. He's a junior for us. He plays on the line with me, and he rotates in on the O line as well. Who else? Yeah, Lamonte already said Craig. Jason Mika, our quarterback. He not luckily, but sadly, last year he didn't really have his opportunity because of senior quarterback Ruben. But now he's getting a shot, and he was our quarterback our freshman year, so I'm really excited for him to finally get his full starting position back. And also, I want to Stephen Cunningham. He's obviously we might be a little undersized sometimes on the O line, but he's a tank. I'll say it. He's a tank. He's a dog. He plays with some aggression.
Okay, knocked off a few more, and I'll talk a little bit so Jesse can start to hear me, maybe approaching him with the question, and then he can almost start talking maybe before I finish. If he knows anybody else on the team that these guys did not mention, maybe Jesse can throw in another player or two. Then we'll ask Coach to clean it up a little bit, maybe give a standout that maybe they missed. Jesse?
Y'all, you guys kind of kept taking them from me, but one of the people y'all seem to have glossed over, Victor Meza. I'll be honest, I'm not too focused on what he plays. He's a skill guy, and I believe the outside linebacker. But Victor plays with heart, and Victor won't quit. That's why I love Vic. And then there's Arturo Settorino, I think. He's one of those guys who, while he was gone during this whole offseason, you can tell he was still putting in the work to keep up with the other people and prevent from getting left behind. But those two, I believe, are going to be solid components for this team in this season.
I'm just glad we got Jesse's audio back and hearing him speak on those. You're doing great. And speak with those guys with such authority. We've been waiting for that booming voice and great confirmation of another couple of players. Coach, you got anybody else you want to mention?
Well,
and if not, talk about some of the skill set of these
everybody's got to go both ways, and a typical example is Brandon DC. He's going to play wide receiver, he's going to play DB, and he's going to kick for us. So it's when you only have like 24, 25 guys out there. I mean, they're all going to be playing offense, they're all going to be playing defense, they're all going to be playing special teams. And then they've been, a lot of them have not been playing games for a long time, over a year. So they're going to have to rotate. Even though we only have 24, 25 guys, I've got at least 2 guys at every position rotating at least, and sometimes 3 with a couple guys learning 2 or 3 different positions. And it's just because I know they're not going to be able to go 4 quarters by themselves, especially going both ways. So they're going to need a break here. So we've been practicing a lot of rotations. But what I'm really interested in is watching my young kids, because you guys probably know, our freshman team that are JVs now, first of all, not a lot of them came out, with this COVID thing. We only have about, I want to say 10, 11 freshmen and another maybe 12, 13 sophomores out. But our sophomores that were freshmen last year were not only 0-9, but they didn't score until the 6th game of the season. They were shut out the first 5 games, and when they finally did score, they scored against Chula Vista. They got a 15-yard penalty, for celebrating. And, I'm telling the referees, hey, they've never been there before. You can't blame them. I mean, but, they really struggled last year, and they're sophomores this year, but it's a good group of kids, and they all do what we tell them to do, and they're in the weight room lifting. And so, I'm just really interested to see, how much they've improved. And, the ones that stick out, we have a slogan, those that will stay will become champions. And, luckily, we've had a little bit of success. So, the kids that do stay and lift weights in our program and everything, they usually have a little bit of success. So I'm really interested to see how our JV team does and as well as our varsity team. But I'm just happy, I'm like everybody here, on the screen here. I'm just happy that we're having a season and, the kids get to run around and play and we get to watch them, because it would be terrible, really terrible, if we didn't have a season right now. In 5 games, let's be thankful we got 5 games.
Coach, you say it very humbly, a little success, but if you look at the last couple of years, or even the last decade, the Monarchs have been right there in the Valley League several times. Not to take anything away from the other teams, I want to reflect real quick, and I'll throw this one at. I'm gonna give this one to Adrian again. That Santana game, Santana coming in there undefeated, just on top of their game, best Santana team ever in the history of their football program. So they had pretty high heads. I don't want to say they had their nose in the air, but they were coming in heavy favorites and coming into your house, and I believe it was homecoming, as a matter of fact, as well. So you guys, I don't think you guys were having that. What was the feeling on the field and within the huddle with Santana coming in there and knowing that they had that high powered offense?
No, like while we were going to that week, obviously, like we were really heavily focused on them. Like they were coming in undefeated, as you said. We knew it was going to be a tough matchup, but we weren't just going to let them come in heavy, like with their with their confidence super high, and like we weren't going to let that take us over. Like, so as you said, it was homecoming that game, so everyone's just going to show out, try to put on the best game ever, and they did come in a little too confident, I'd say to myself, and we just I don't want to say we overpowered them, but we beat them out, but we beat them on both sides of the ball, and that's what mattered. Like, both sides back each other up.
Coach, I think you had a very good formula that year, and I talked with Ramon about it, and I might have discussed it with other teams. You know, you decided to play the early on in your season, the non-league games against teams like Lincoln, very speedy and very athletic teams like Lincoln, and people probably thought you were crazy for doing that. And you know, you were playing all the top teams in the county to prepare yourself for league. I mean, it made sense to me. And once league came around, you know, you didn't do that great against the non-league teams, but you know what? You competed at least, and you learned from those losses, and that's exactly if correct me if I'm wrong, was your plan. It was to prepare them for league and to prepare them for games like Santana, and I think that formula worked out great. And correct me if I'm wrong, if that was exactly what your game plan was.
Yeah, and you know, we were 1-4 going into league, so I know a lot of people thought we were down, but you know, if you look at the 4 losses that we had, you know, except for Lincoln, you know, they were just very talented, and they're going to be very talented again next year too. But you know, a lot of our losses were our mistakes, you know, that we just needed to correct, and I think that was the main thing, that we would go in the film room, you know, on Mondays and just talk about ourselves more than, you know, getting on the kids or being negative, or, you know, worrying about, you know, being 1-4, or, you know, looking at, you know, what the other team did. We just kind of concentrated on ourselves and said, hey, let's get better every week. And we simplified a lot of things too. We, you know, cut out a lot of things that just weren't working. And so, you know, I think the kids got more comfortable as the season went on, and, you know, there isn't anything like success. You know, once you win a game, you know, kids feel good, and you win another one, and, you know, and it's just one of the greatest feelings once you get on a roll, you know.
Lamonte, you know, everybody knows Coach is very famous for and for good reason, because it works, and it has for many years. Is he does like to pound the rock, and I'm sure you will be getting plenty of carries. I don't think I'm gonna take away or give any offensive secrets away, saying that, but you know, over the years, Coach has had a lot of success pounding the rock and playing defense, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of carries. What are your thoughts on this offense, and how it's going to work without giving anything away? But does it differ a lot from last year's offense?
Not really differs, but like, it's, to me, it's such an honor, because I've seen like Jamon, you know, do what he did, you know, it's the CIF game and the year he had, and it was like a kid watching, just like, wow, oh my God, Jamon. Like, it's just an honor. Like, I'm in that position now. I seen Isaiah do it last year, and, you know, and I got the ball like 3 times last year, but I mean, it's okay, you know, and it's just an honor. It's a great honor, you know, to be a part of, you know, this family that we got.
Yeah, Isaiah was a great. Oh, go ahead. I would say Isaiah was a great runner too. It's just the tradition of the Monarchs. So we expect Lamonte to have some nice runs for sure. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's next man up, and you know, it sounds like you got, and I was gonna throw that next question to you too. What are your thoughts on your offensive line, and how confident you are in running behind them?
You know, my offensive line, you know, I love them to death. Oh, I love all my linemen. And, you know, when we work on our things, you know, we just gotta work on more stuff. You know, we just gotta make it perfect. Practice makes perfect. You know, we just gotta like perfect our, you know, what we're gonna do. And, you know, I feel like we could be a real, you know, good team when we all come together, and, you know, and just, well, yeah.
For sure. And these
Jesse,
guys. Go ahead, Jay.
And Jesse, I mean, like Lamonte just said, I mean, it's all about the confidence and repeating, being repetitive, and just perfecting your craft. And if anybody can lead you into battle and help you become a better player, I'm sure you definitely agree that Coach Hamamoto definitely will help you reach that promised land, and he's done it quite a few times. And so what are your thoughts?
I absolutely agree. When you listen to Coach Ham, what Coach Ham likes to do is he likes to find your limits, and then he likes to make you pass them out. There's no staying the same way you are. It's constant improvement. It's never being satisfied with one goal. The moment that goal is complete, well, now you got to make more. It's just a nonstop, constant motion, and I'm just very glad that we have Coach Ham to lead us down that road.
Almost like a life. He's teaching you life lessons on the field, as well as and the discipline for when you get out into the world after football, if you will.
Oh, absolutely, because it's the same principles off the field. You don't want to find one thing that you're good at and just stick with that. You want to take that and you want to build on it. You want to allow yourself to grow and be the best you can be. That's just the way I see it. Just constant growth, constant improvement.
Coach, it looks like you it looks like you got pretty much these three guys in particular on the same page, and they're picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah, I think we're going to be real competitive if we stay healthy. Obviously, injuries are going to be a big part of anybody's season, not just ours. But we have players, but we're like anybody else. If you only have 24, 25 players and a couple guys go down, I mean, you lose. Not just one player, you lose a player on offense, defense, and special teams. So. But we're not the only team like that. Everybody's, almost everybody that we play is like that too. So,
Well,
go ahead.
That's what I was going to mention, Coach, is, the whole Valley League, that's pretty much how it's designed anyway, is pretty much the same amount on their rosters as well with Elkhorn Valley. For example, in Mount Miguel, they have to go both ways. So really, every game is winnable for any of you, because you're all similar situations. You're a lot of skill players on all those teams. Elkhorn Valley, I'd like to give a shout out to them, just because Coach Nick Osborne's really turned that organization around, both on the field and off the field. It's like a whole new culture over there for the Braves. So they're a lot more competitive, and I know you can attest to that too. They're not, that team that people would say, "Oh, we're playing the Braves. That should be a W." It's no, they're going to come out and they're going to compete.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've improved, and every team that we play, I just hope our kids take everybody one game at a time. That's what we always preach, and I'm sure they will. And like I said, I think we're just very appreciative we get to play a season here.
Yeah. And we talked about some of the other players on the team, Coach, but maybe you can just tell me about the skill set of these guys real quick, and then we'll get on out of here. Lamonte, a running back kind of in that Monarch tradition. He mentioned it himself, and why not? Why wouldn't you want to be like a Jamon McClintock? Maybe Coach actually could be the Jamon whisperer, and maybe he knows what his next move is. But tell us about Lamonte following in the footsteps of those two backs, and also tell us about what Jesse and Adrian bring in the trenches, each one of these guys that we have on night.
Well, first of all, they were all league last year. So, the bottom line was, that they're very good players. They're very talented players. And Lamonte already mentioned it, running backs are as good as their offensive line. And Jamon had a good offensive line in front of him. Isaiah had a good offensive line in front of him. And Lamonte is going to have a good offensive line in front of him. So, we're going to challenge people to stop us, and some people do and some people don't. And, that's the nature of playing high school football. And, but, we're, again, we're just happy to be playing. I mean, we're we're going to try to win games, but you look at the three guys up there. I mean, they're just really excited that next Friday, another week, we get to line up against another team, even though it's just a scrimmage, and then 2 weeks, we get to finally play a game. So
yeah, is that order, that schedule right, Ron? Valhalla's the first game at Valhalla, the first real game. Yeah, at Valhalla and Dave. So I think that schedule that we saw is correct. Coach can correct us, but we mentioned the teams. But at Valhalla, at West Hills, those are good games. Home against the Braves, at El Cap. That's a good game too. And how about this one, Dave? The season finale. Only fitting, guys. I'll mention to the three guys, playing the Mount Miguel Matadors. But Dave, you mentioned Coach's winning record. We always embarrass him when we got him, but I know he knows this. When him and Coach Starr face off one another, that's over 400 career victories all time between the two. I mean, that's you guys are just young guys. I'm old. Coach is old. That's a lot of 400. That's like, what is that? Like 20 undefeated seasons. I don't even know, Dave.
It's definitely a staple, Coach. I'm sure. I know the humble guy that you are, but it's got to be at least in the back of your mind. Definitely something that you look forward to when going head to head with Coach Starr and and then you got the Spring Valley teams too going at it that already have the rivalry as it is, and they are going to miss the services of Jaheim Allen, one of the best players to come out of Spring Valley in a while too, along with Jamon McClendon. He was the next one up, but they still got a real gunslinger behind center. Can really throw the ball.
For sure. That's going to be all these games will be great. And what I've said, guys, Adrian, Jesse, Lamonte, is that every week's a championship game in this season. I mean, of course. I mean, it's kind of that way when you play your league season, but when you're only getting 5 opportunities to go out there one more time, I mean, every snap is just edge of your seat, really. And to think about that, I guess there's no league championship, Dave, but at the end, somebody will have more wins than the other teams, and they'll know in the back of their mind that maybe they were the best that year. And just given the fact that these Monte Vista Monarchs have won the league title, these guys are champions. That's all there is to it, and they're going to end their career as champions. They're going to leave high school after this season as champions, as seniors. Coach, one more quick question. I don't know if you got this today, Coach, but they said, I guess, that fan attendance. Now, anything could change because the rapid decline of this case rate. I mean, what is right in the week 1 or 2 could be different in week 3 or 4 or 5 and 6. But did they pass any word along to you guys about it might be only families allowed in attendance and not fans?
Yeah, I heard something like that, but I'm not really, nobody has given us a definite word yet. So we're still waiting. We were told yesterday that our scrimmage, there won't be any fans at all, that San Diego Unified is not allowing, at least Point Loma told us that anyways, that they're not allowing any fans at all. So we're going to play in front of an empty stadium as far as our scrimmage. But, that's like a practice. So we're used to that.
Sure. All right, Dave, want to thank the Monte Vista Monarchs. Great hour with them, man. That went quick because there's so many good questions, and these guys were great. Sorry about the technical difficulties with Jesse, but, man, when we got him back on, he knocked it out of the park. He got in the end zone for sure, Dave. Let's thank Lamonte Jenkins, Jesse Schroeder, and Adrian Ortiz, and, of course, the man with Dave. You wanted to know it's 232 career victories going into this season for the current leader of all the coaches for wins, coaches that are current, Ron Hamamoto. Always great to have Coach. Please stay on the line with us, Coach, after we get off here. Dave, anything else?
No, just want to say appreciate it, gentlemen, taking your evening to spend it with the old guys from East County Sports, and it really does mean a lot to us too, to see you guys be able to attend some games and see you guys on the field and in action after such a stagnant amount of mentally draining months. We look forward to seeing you guys and you guys putting up some W's. So thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Dave. And we'll catch you with more previews in the days to come. We're just 7 days away from football, and it's glorious.